Hello, everyone. I welcome you to my YouTube channel where I dish out educative videos on the field of educational management. But due to demands, popular demands from mentees and colleagues, this video will be focusing on something else, but something that is very relevant, that is very useful to everybody, especially the academics. And as you can see, the title of this presentation is Working Safe in a Virtual Learning Environment, a focus on Creative Commons licensing. Once again, I'm Maruf Akiwale Oladejo from Department of Educational Management, University of Lagos, Nigeria. Now, the objectives of this presentation are that by the end of the presentation, you should be able to define Creative Commons licensing. You should be able to define the concepts of copyright, intellectual property, and public domains. I also expect that you should be able to distinguish among OER, OAP, OAJ, and M00Cs. You should be able to identify various Creative Commons images. And finally, you should be able to explain Creative Commons licenses. Copying is not theft. And this is according to Macintosh 2020. Macintosh happens to be the OER chair, UNESCO chair on OER, the university in Australia. He delivered a webinar on my EPNET platform in the year 2020, and it made us to realize that copying is not theft. And I believe that by the time I am done with this presentation, we will all agree that copying is not truly theft. Yeah, I begin the introduction by saying that in today's digital world, in today's digital age, working in online environments has become an integral part of our everyday lives, due largely to its convenience. Virtually, what we do nowadays, we do them online, be it teaching and learning, be it business transactions, what have you, because online environments has, made things more convenient by virtue of being technological enabled. However, despite the convenience and benefits that the online world brings, there are also risks and dangers that we need to be aware of in order to be safe while working online. Most especially we that are academics, we work online, we do so many things online, we publish online. So while publishing, how are we going to ensure that we are safe? We will not be able to commit plagiarism. We will not, violate copyright law. This is the essence of this my presentation. Because working safe in an online environment also applies to our respecting and adhering strictly to Creative Commons licensing. Creative Commons licensing. Now, a lot of studies like the one done by Bale and Stone in 2013, the one done by Oladejo in 2018, and Slatter in 2017, they all reported that between 70 to 78% of academics do not know how to download and share OERs, that is, open educational resources, without committing copyright infringement. They are not aware about how to share documents, how to copy works online without violating copyright infringement. In other words, they have little or no idea about the provisions and principles of Creative Commons. And what are those provisions? What are those principles? This is the main focus of this presentation. Generally, there still exist, gaps in knowledge and understanding of CCL, that is Creative Commons licenses, regarding specific terms and conditions of these licenses. There are a lot of licenses that are there for us to use if we want to copy other people's work, if we want to share other people's work. But studies have really shown that we still have gaps. Many of us, we have little or no knowledge. We have poor understanding of these CCLs in terms of the terms, in terms of the conditions upon which we can use them. Now, the use of copyrighted materials, as we all know, usually depends on either we make payments to the author or creator of any creative work, or we take permission from the author or the creator of such creative works. What I'm saying here is that anytime we want to use any copyrighted materials, we can use these materials. If the author wants us to pay, we make payments. If the author wants us to, take permission, we take permission. And that is as far as copyrighted materials are concerned. But when we compare materials, when we compare educational resources that are released under CCLs, they are free of cost and they are available online. Copyrighted materials are also available online. But like I said, it's either you make payment to the curator or the author or you take permission. But when it comes to educational materials, textbooks, journals, articles, what have you, even musics, artworks, photographs, all these are creative works anyway. When it comes to them and they have been released under CCL, under Creative Commons licenses, they are free of cost. You don't have to pay. And they are online for us to use. So what CCLs, does is that they are designed in order to balance the needs and freedoms of users, with the rights of the creators, the needs and freedoms of users on one side, the rights of the creators on the other side. How do we balance the two? That is, how do we balance it in such a way that we will not be offending each other? That is what make CCL, become highly imperative for us. Now, these licenses, that is CCLs, they allow creators to retain their copyright while giving permission to people to use, share, and modify their works under certain prescribed or clearly stated conditions. Now, the same CCL allow creators to grant advance permissions to the public, highlighting what others can and cannot do with their creative works. If I have creative works and I want to release it or release them under CCL, I will give you advance permission how you can use my work that will not infringe upon my copyright, that will not, incur my wrath, and what you can do with my work, what you cannot do with my work. So when we are working with CC materials, when we are working with Creative Commons materials, therefore, it is highly imperative for us to understand and follow the licensing terms to ensure legal and ethical use. So, in other words, one way by which we can use other people's work legally, we can use other people's work ethically is to understand and follow the terms upon which such works had been released. Now, what do we mean by the concept of Creative Commons? Creative Commons can be defined as non-profit organization that enables the sharing and use of creativity and knowledge through free legal tools. This is according to McNulty, 2016, page 4. It focuses on making creative works available for discovery and reuse ethically and what? And legally. Creative Commons are tools that enable creators to share their creative works legally, by providing a number of copyright licenses and grant specific permissions to the public regarding the use of their work. Regarding the use of their work. Now, there are four basic Creative Commons licenses. They are four, basically four, out of which, additional two were sub-curated, making it six. And that is why if you are seeing some articles, they will say this article, is released under Creative Commons 4.0. Actually, the latest one, 4.0, was released in November 2013, 10 years ago. But there are four. The first one is where you see someone standing, attribution. Attribution is saying that this my work, you must give credit to the owner of the work. Share alike is that you use this work exactly the way I have created it. This is the opposite of a copyright, which is a copy left. I will talk about that later. Where we have something like equals to sign is talking about no derivatives. No derivatives. Do not derive anything from my work. And the last one is we are seeing dollars there, dollars being crossed, not for commercial. You can use my work, for commercial purpose. So these are the four basic ones. And this is the sign for Creative Commons, double C. If it were to be copyright, it is one single C. It's a single C, just one C. But for Creative Commons, you have double C in a circle. If you see this sign is talking about Creative Commons licenses. Now, there are some basic related concepts. That is why when I started from the learning objectives, the objectives of the presentation, I said I hope that you should be able to explain some concept and of course distinguish between some concepts. So here I want to be talking about some basic related concepts. The first one is intellectual property. Intellectual property. What does it mean? Intellectual property is talking about the rights and protections. It's a legal term that has to do with the rights and protections that apply to products of human intellect, including inventions, literary and artistic works, symbols, names, images, and designs used in commerce. So it is not only book that we talk of, intellectual property, even artwork, photographs, literary work, music, they all talked about intellectual property. And that is why, it includes patents, it includes trademarks, it includes copyrights, and of course, trade secret. And what is the goal of intellectual property? The goal of intellectual property is to foster innovation and creativity by giving creators an incentive to produce, develop, and share their works. You know, once the creators are aware that they have been legally protected, their interest has been protected legally, uh, when they know that their work, you know, um, are secured, they cannot tamper with it anyhow, then that incentive will be there. That motivation will be there to do what? Keep on producing, developing, and sharing their works because they know that the law that has to do with intellectual property is there, to protect them. Moving forward, we have copyright. Copyright, when I was talking about what constitutes intellectual property, I said it includes patents, trademarks, and copyrights. So, in other words, copyright is a branch of intellectual property law. And this copyright grants original creator, be it authors, be it musicians, be it artists, and what have you, the rights of ownership and protections against unauthorized uses of their works for a fixed period of time. I made that word condition for a fixed period of time because it does not mean that the work will be copyrighted till eternity. It doesn't mean that. I will expatiate more on this. In other words, copyrighted works, they do expire. Let me just go on. Now, copyright is that law that grants the creator or entrepreneur the exclusivity rights to use, distribute, publish, and showcase their products without any permission or authorization from anyone. Of course, they are the owner, they are the creator of their creative works. So they have that exclusive right. They can do anything, anything they want to do with their work, they are the owners. So, and they don't need permission, they don't need authorization from anyone before they can use their work. So, and I also need to say that copyright protection is automatic. It is automatic, and therefore it begins as soon as the work is created. Let me expatiate more on this. There are some books that, even journals that we may not see that C sign, copyright sign there. It does not mean that it is not copyrighted. The moment a creative work is, created, and of course there are conditions to make some works to be called creative anyway. I don't want to really go into that for this presentation. But the moment creative work is created, it comes with copyright. So if you see a textbook, if you see anything, and the sign of copyright is not there, it does not mean that you can do anything with it. No, you cannot. So the assumption is that the work is copyrighted, whether or not the sign is there, whether or not the statement that this work is copyrighted, take permission, blah, 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 whether they are there or not, the work is copyrighted as long as, they are creative works. Now, public domain. What do we mean by public domain? Public domain is talking about those works that are not protected by intellectual property rights or laws, and as such, they are available to the public to use, modify, distribute, or share without permission or payment. Without permission or payment. Now, there are two ways by which uh, creative works, enter into public domain. That is, if a work enters into public domain, which makes which makes us to be able to use, modify, distribute, and share without any permission or making any payment, it is because such works had entered into public space through two ways. The author has granted, has forfeited the copyright, laws. I created a creative work. Maybe for some years I said, okay, no, that's okay. Now I have forfeited the copyright. Anybody can use it without permission, without any payments. That is one way. The other way is for the copyright itself to expire. And that's why I said Copyrighted works have fixed period of time upon which the law will be there to protect any such materials. It depends on the country. It depends on the country. Some works, some creative works have 50 years, 50 years lifespan after the death of the creator. So if a work is created year 2000 and the author is still alive, the work is still copyrighted, except if the author has, or creator has forfeited it. But if the author now dies this year, then the work will enter into public domain 50 years after 50 years to this time because it will have expired. In some countries, it is 70 years. I think the United States of America is 70 years. So that is why we need to be aware, to be conversant with copyright laws as operated within our country. I will talk about that later. Now, talking about open educational resources. Open educational resources is talking about any teaching, learning, or research materials that are freely available for use, distribution, and modification by anyone. It could be curriculum, it could be lecture notes. So they are there freely available for us to use, to distribute, and to modify by anyone. But once they are there on the web, let us, be on the lookout for those Creative Commons licenses. They are there for us to use. That's the word. That is why they are called open educational resources. But how are we going to use them ethically and, of course, legally? Then what about open access publications? These are publications that provide researchers easy and free access to a variety of research literature, like journal articles, like research reports. They are not the same thing as open educational resources because when we talk of open access publications, journal articles, research reports, they are not talking about teaching, learning per se. They are not talking about curriculum, but there is a kind of interrelationship among all those concepts, interrelationship among those concepts, because some focus mainly on some. And when we talk of open access publications, maybe because to procure print textbooks, print journals for some institutions might be a little bit difficult. So we can have virtual library where all these can be kept, but they are, journal articles, research reports, not necessarily curriculum or lecture notes, so to say, as we have under open educational resources. I continue by, making reference, taking my discussions to open access journals. These are electronic journals which give access to all users and are usually subscription free. You may not need to, you know, to pay for this type of journals. We call them OAJ, open access journals. So, like open access publications, those ones talk about journals, journal articles, talked about research reports, but open access journals, mainly journals, and they are electronic journals. They are electronic journals. And in most cases, um, uh, users have access to use them, and we don't subscribe to such journals. They don't have to pay. Then we have massive open online courses. Massive open online courses, which are open-ended education programs broadcast through the internet to several thousands of learners. They are online courses that are designed for massive participation with unlimited access to educational contents. A typical example here is Coursera. Coursera that different universities, and of course recently University of Lagos also came on board and gave us access. So if we take a look at the Coursera, you will agree with me that globally, there are thousands of people. We learn. The courses are there. We learn anytime. there is massive participation, people from different countries, and there is no barrier when it comes to accessing educational contents. Those of us that had participated in Coursera, we know what I'm talking about. The content, the curriculum for each of the courses, very solid, there, 24 hours. And, people from different countries of the world, they do it. So all these are uh, some concepts that are related to Creative Commons licenses. Now, at this juncture, I want to explain more. I want to expatiate more on, you know, uh, these Creative Commons licenses. Yeah, yes, like I said, I now want to be explaining um, all these Creative Commons licenses, their images, and what each of these images actually talks about. The first one is CCBY. CCBY. When you see any article or any material, any creative work, so to say, that carries this image, what it means is that the author, or let me just personalize it, if I display this image in my creative work, it means I have given anybody, I have given the public opportunity to use this my creative work anyhow. You can modify, you can share, you can use, you can do anything with it, but give me the credits, attribute the work to the original creator. Once you do that, you can do anything with it. And of course, this is the least restrictive license that uh, a curator can give to the public. The second one is CCB-SA. SA is share alike, share alike. And as we can see on the screen, that image is saying that, one, give me the credits, attribute the work to me, and my work should be shared based on the conditions upon which the original work had been created. In other words, if I have a creative work and I have included this image in the work, what it means is that apart from you giving me the credit that this work is credited to Oladejo, you should also not do anything with it other than to share it based on the conditions, the original conditions that I used, while creating the work. So you share it alike, that is copyleft. And like I said, it is the opposite of copyright, because if you look at the way C had been written here, it looks left side, but the normal C will look towards the right hand side. So share alike is the opposite of copyright, and that is why it is at times usually called copy left. The third one is the image that we are seeing. You see the what you call the copyright, I mean the Creative Commons sign, the CC. You see the image of human being, which is BI attribution. Then you see that equal sign in a circle, which is non-derivatives. So if I release my work under this Creative Commons license, it means that don't derive anything from my work. It's not the same thing as share alike. Don't modify my work. Don't, create any other thing from my work. also attribute it to me. You created something and somebody want to, retwist and use it and bring out something from it. No, this license does not allow us to do that. Then we have CC BY and from NC. Yeah, we in this image, when you see any work that is released under this license, you give attribution. All the works, you must give attribution. Then I am now saying that you can do anything. You can, if you like, share alike. If you like, derive something else from my work, as long as you do not make it for commercial, you do not, use it to get money. So I am releasing this by creative work under this condition, under this license. Do anything you want to do with it. Share alike if you like. If you like, don't share alike. If you like, make derivative out of it. If you like, don't. But give me credit and don't make money out of my work. That is why you are seeing dollar sign being crossed. So those are the four major licenses, like I said earlier on. But there are two that were derived from it. I mean, from those four, rather. The fifth one is CC, BY iPhone NC, and the iPhone SA. This one combines no commercial and then share alike. So if I release my creative work, if you see any creative work online and you watch out for the sign, it means that one, give me the credit. Two, don't make money out of it. Don't use it for commercial purpose. Three, don't change the conditions upon which the original work was created. Share this work the same way the original work has been created. So that is the fifth one. The sixth one, which is the most restrictive, is CCBYNCND. Not for commercial, don't make anything out of it. All you need is just give me the credit. Oladejo 2023, Oladejo 2024. Give the credit to me. So give the credit to the curator. Don't use it for commercial. Don't derive anything out of it. So the sixth one is, the most restrictive Creative Commons license. So these are the six Creative Commons licenses. And like I explained, the interpretations of the licenses are what I have here. The first one, attribution CCBY, it allows others to use, share, and modify the work only if they give credit to the original owner. The second one, attribution share alike, CCBY SA, it allows others to use, share, and modify the work only if they give credit to the original owner and license their work under the same Creative Commons license. I've explained all this. I'm just trying to, reiterate what I've all said, because these are the critical, things that we need to know. So the third one is attribution no derivatives, CCBYND, which allows others to use and share the work as long as they give credit to the original owner and do not make any changes or modifications to the work. Now, the fourth one is attribution non-commercial, CCBYNC, which allows others to use, share, and modify the work for non-commercial purposes while giving credit to the original owner. And the last one is attribution non-commercial share alike, which allows others to use, share, and modify the work for non-commercial purposes as long as they give credit to the original owner and license their work under the same Creative Commons licenses. So if you bring out another work similar to the one that you are trying to copy, let it be under the same Creative Commons license. Now, the last one, which is the most restrictive, is attribution non-commercial no derivatives, CC BY NC ND, which allows others to use and share the work for non-commercial purposes while giving credit to the original owner and not making any changes or modifications to the work. Any changes or modifications to the work. So there is a difference between non-derivative and share alike. Share alike, you can make change, you can modify, but once you are releasing your own work, knowing fully well that you have modified somebody else's work, then base your own work or your own new work on the conditions that the original owner, created the work. But if it is for non-derivatives, don't tamper with my work. Don't tamper with my work. Don't use it for commercial purpose. So I hope we will be able to distinguish between those two so that we don't use it, mix them up. Now, concluding remarks. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape where collaboration and access to information are crucial, Creative Commons licenses offer a powerful and valuable tool in this regard. Powerful and valuable tool because we have access to information online. We want to collaborate, but how do we work? How do we collaborate? How do we access information online without committing, copyright infringement? That is why I said CCL offer a powerful and valuable tool in this regard. Educationists and researchers across the globe, they are using CCL in many ways. They are using the CCL in many ways. And that is why we need better understanding of it, because having better understanding of CCL will be useful for teachers and researchers to better their teaching and research outcomes and make them work safe in online environments. Some of us that did our PhD, our doctoral program more than decades ago, even as at that time, our work, we were not compelled, to put our work online. The issue of plagiarism software was not that pronounced, you know. But when I became an academic, I have to put my thesis online. But without this knowledge of CCL, only God knows the uh, the amount of copyright infringement that one has committed. But the modern day students, doctoral students, postgraduate students, even undergraduates, they need a better understanding of this CCL because um, we want to get information online to assist in our research work. So how do we get information and use the information in such a way that we will still end up, working safe in an online environment? Now, making research available is good. Making information available is good. But making research truly open for use and mining will be better in this era of tremendous data production. If you make your work available online, fine, but let it be open, truly open, no restriction. So let's see how we can guarantee 100% information sharing. So by adhering to CCL, individuals, be it researchers, be it academics, be it students, anyone who is working online, will be able to contribute to a more open, accessible, and equitable knowledge ecosystem. So what do we mean by doing the right thing? Doing the right thing is to share knowledge freely, and it is more important than doing the thing right. When you do the thing right, you are creating legal options for adding restrictions. You actually want people to use it, but you are creating legal options which translate into adding restrictions, especially in the academia. So the best thing for us is to do the right thing, share knowledge freely, share knowledge freely. Now, what are my recommendations after all said and done? What are the things that I want to recommend that will make us to be able to work freely online? The first one is what I have just talked about. We need to understand these different Creative Commons licenses and verify their terms. With this lecture that I'm presenting right now, we many of us we now come to realize the terms upon which different CCLs are usually or can be used. So we need to understand different CCL. You After this lecture, you go online, you will see different kinds of different kinds of how will I put it articles. Maybe let me see how I can cite one or two examples. Now, that is one. Two, you attribute the work properly. Attribute the work properly. Give credit to the person that had created the work. And then there should be regular review of licensing terms because it do change. The creators can change the terms upon which the work has been released. For example, if I feel that initially I had released my work under under non-derivative, you can't tamper with my work. And after this kind of lecture, now say that, okay, I want to do the right thing. I want to make knowledge freely available. So I change the terms to maybe share alike or ordinary attribution. So we should have uh, we should be reviewing the license terms regularly. Um, they also understand copyright duration. Like I said, copyright expires. So if a work is produced today, then when will it be expiring? We have to get information about that. Some copyrighted materials last for 50 years after 50 years after the death of the creator, or 70 years in some cases. It depends. So we need to uh, you know be conversant with the duration. Then we need to monitor copyright renewals. If it has expired, do we know whether the creator had renewed it? Renew is different from review. If you review, you can change. Are you with me? If you review, you can change from ND to SA. But if it is renewal, the same thing, you are renew it. You are renew your non-derivative license. So we need to monitor it. It's very, very important. And lastly, we need to consult copyright experts. There are some lawyers, legal professionals that specialize in copyright laws. So we need to consult them. So these are the recommendations that I want to make so that we would be able to work safe online. Thank you very much once again. I want to uh, say that um, we need to know how to work safe online. Not everything online is something that we can use anyhow. And we always have, need to be asking ourselves, what if it is my own creative works that they are, using wrongly? Wrongly. Are we going to be happy? Definitely no. So, in other words, what we don't want people to do to our own creative work, because it is not easy to be creative. So, don't do it to others. Once again, I'm Maruf Akinwale Oladejo. I'm from Department of Educational Management, University of Lagos. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell. I want to be releasing, videos, lectures that will add values to our lives. Thank you very much. God bless you.